Hi, I'm Reverend Natalie Jean, and we're back with you with the Emma Curtis Hopkins movement. So today I wanted to talk about the aspect of timelessness. Even if that's a word, I don't know. But anyway, timelessness. This past week, actually this past Friday, I enjoyed a wonderful birthday. I turned 40. And a lot of people have been asking me the question of how I still look the same way that I did in high school, maybe even in elementary school. And I started to think about why. Yes, it is true, I am a kid at heart, but I think it started with the early days of my spiritual movement when I did not even know that I was being spiritual. I made the affirmation. My mom says, one day you're not going to look the same, because I would eat anything that I wanted. And I would always say, no, I'm going to always look the same. I am never going to change the way that I look. And in essence, I did my first affirmation. I believe that we are all wonderful and powerful people. If we want something to change in our lives, if we want to change our look, if we want to stop aging, then we need to start working on ourselves. Emma Curtis Hopkins, actually in one of her lessons, and I can't remember which one, actually talks about staying, not aging. Even in biblical times, in the stories that we hear, people live to be 150, 200 years old, because their mind wasn't settled on the aspect of death, of leaving this earthly plane. My mind is not settled on it. I don't believe in death. I believe in everlasting life, because this is what they tried to teach us. This is what Jesus and God tried to teach us on a daily basis, that they gave us everlasting life. So we have all the time in the world to do the things that we need to do in this earthly plane. Now, a lot of times, there are people that are artists, there are people that are musicians. They'll always tell these people, oh, it's so hard to get into this industry. Oh, you're too old for this. Even American Idol, they stopped the age process at 29. So a lot of people would ask me, well, why don't you go and do that stuff? And I remind them what age I was. And they'd be like, oh my gosh, that is so silly. Sometimes I wish they would say you must appear to be the age of 29. But age does not matter in God's realm. Time doesn't matter in God's realm. The other day, this past week, I've been thinking about time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so many things to accomplish. Where is the time gone? Now I have turned 40. Some woman told me the other day at the gym, she says, you reached the 4th floor. I'm on the 4th floor. It is a fabulous floor to be. And now they say 40s are the new 30s. But I don't need to digress. I stay focused, and I'm happy that I've reached the 4th floor and to continue the work on Emma Curtis Hopkins movement. We need to have that mindset. We need to continuously focus on the thing at hand, and not focus what age we are, what we have not done, but to focus on the things we are going to do. So the other day I was talking to one of my partners in the business, and she was like, well, we really should get this thing out, and maybe we'll remove some of the things. And I said to her, no. You know what? This thing that we're doing is going to come out on time. And that means in the divine timing, which is beautiful and great. There can be no greater time than God's time, which is endless, which is immaculate, which is beautiful. We can do all things in God every single day that we want to. Now, during this time, this week I had off, I started thinking about the many teachers that I've had in my life, that have taught me many wonderful things about Emma, Hinduism, Buddhism, all kinds of things that they have taught me. And I am very grateful for them in my life, and we should always be grateful. But there is a time that we decide to walk our own path, to see other things, to learn other things, to move other things. And sometimes our teachers will tell us, maybe it's not time for you to go. But what they have come to teach us, these teachers that we have, is for us to discern for ourselves and not for others to discern for us. We will know when we are actually ready to step out and learn something new. I am constantly learning new things. The other day, I started to read Scientific Christian Mental Practice. Now, I've read that book several times, but I had to read it for a project that I'm doing, And I was astonished at the things that I missed, or the things that, reiterated certain things about my life. Emma Curtis Hopkins books are the only books that I can read twice. I've even read 50 Shades of Grey, which I loved, absolutely loved that book. But I could only read it once, because after a while it loses its appeal for me. But I read Scientific Christian Mental Practice, any of Emma Curtis Hopkins books. There is always something new that I see, that moves me, that grabs me. And right now, Scientific is one of my favorite books. And I just don't read it just to read it. I take her words, her lessons, so to speak. I think the name should actually change, Scientific Christian Mental Practice Lessons. Because they were the lessons that she was teaching her students. And thank God for her students that put her work together and decided, you know what? This stuff is great. We need to help other people. We need for them to hear what Emma has to say about God, Christian Science, Brahmins, Hindu, whatever. We need to hear her words. They need to hear them. This stuff will move you. This stuff will teach you who you are and how you need to move in this life so you can attain. The whole thing is about oneness. You can attain this oneness. You can understand for yourself. Emma was never going to tell you this was the right way. She was not going to force you to go into Christian Science and say, well, this was the only way. She taught you not only about the King James Bible, she talked about Hinduism, Buddhism, she spoke Latin, she spoke several different languages. She embraced herself in God's world. She didn't tell you that one was bad over the other. One was good over the other either. But what she was trying to teach us is to speak the truth and take the time to study, to learn, not to go out through life trying to hurry things. Some of us, I've been in that situation where I would want to get through the things really quickly because I had to be honest. When I got Emma Curtis Hopkins' first teachings, I think it was Scientific Christian Mental Practice, I wouldn't read it. Because it was for a class, and I can't stand when people try to force me to read something. I wasn't ready for it at that time. But when I started studying with Dr. Reverend Christopher Bazemore, we had to read it. And I had to answer a series of questions, which I loved. So I answered these questions, and it was just fabulous. And I became obsessed. I wanted to learn more. So I bought everything that she had from Reverend Joanna Rogers. But I have to admit, I read them very quickly because I wanted to immerse myself in who Emma Curtis Hopkins was. Now, I go back into her books, I go back into her lessons, and I study them. I become one with what she is trying to teach me. We can't go through her teachings just reading the book and saying, oh, this is great, this is Emma's stuff. I will always tell people Emma's my girl, but I always go back into my mind and said, what has Emma taught me? She has taught me to love. She has taught me to speak my truth. She has taught me that I deserve good, because there was a point in my life where I didn't think I deserved anything. Because there were people around me that were saying, oh, you shouldn't do this. Why are you doing this? Yada, yada. But I believe that I am worthy and I'm deserving of all the things that I want in life, but I'm not the only one. And I decided, well, other people needed to hear these teachings. They needed to read these teachings, so that other people could speak their truth and learn about everything that they needed to do in this life to attain their goals and their missions. And to understand they didn't have to conform to this idea that other people wanted them to be. We are all individuals. We are all still brothers and sisters connected to one God. But we are all brothers and sisters here to help one another. And that is the thing that Emma Curtis Hopkins wanted to teach us. That's why on my newsletter, the Emma Curtis Hopkins Theological Association newsletter, I try to engage people to send me things about people that are doing wonderful things in life, because these people will effectively help somebody else. And it's sad. It is sad because I still have to seek out and try to do my own research to find the people that are doing the work. And Emma always told her students, give my stuff out. Let them learn. She wanted people to do that. So I'm trying to follow in that footsteps. Now, we are all born with wonderful gifts And we all have missions and passions, and we need to go out there and do those things. Follow your dreams. Hold still and listen to God and move in your own perfect way. Amen.